welcome inside. This cellar has been digged into the mountain at the end of 60s, beginning of 70s, and was the last part built at that time. And believe it or not, was actually 1/5 of the total surface of our previous cellar. As we've said, the previous cellar was reaching the main road, and this part was actually built in perfect condition of humidity and temperature in order to preserve the wines during the long aging. And being into the mountains was just in the best way, either in terms of humidity and temperature. So we found this small little basket, and my brother designed this beautiful backpack. So in this way, as we perfectly select the grapes, we bring them in without even transferring wines. This has been making a very big improvement, and then they are carried down this way like a little backpack.
But you have some belt.
Yes, we add the belt when we are getting closer to the harvest. And in this way, we carry roughly less than 30 kilograms, while with the old days, we were carrying something more than 40 kilograms, or even sometimes up to 50. Where we see the beautiful rock entering the cellar. And this is actually a serpentine rock, which is part of the schistite family. And we have a lot of rocks like that in Valmalenco. And you can see we do actually have our natural kind of fountain even. So during the aging, we also have the natural water coming in from the mountain itself, preserving the humidity together with the temperature. So there is always communication in between the cellar itself and the mountain. And so fermentation takes place in these big wooden barrels. And we normally work with natural yeast unless there are some problems, and then we might be adding some selected yeast. But we are also working now in selecting our own yeast from our own grapes. So there is a research going on. And in a couple of years, we should be able to use our own selected yeast from our own grapes. These are 50 years old, and these big barrels are really our treasures. All the barrels we have is actually from Garbellotto, which is for us like the Ferrari of the botti in Italy, we think. And these big barrels are all in chestnut. The front is actually oak, and the bottom of it is actually acacia. Acacia, which is so special.
Bottom?
The bottom, the sticks underneath.
So where is chestnut? I don't know.
So chestnut is all around and the back, apart from this portion, because this was very traditional in Valtellina up to the 70s, and was made this way for construction reason, because acacia is actually stronger than the other two woods, and the oak was put in the front just because it was a bit more regular, while normally, as you can see from looking at the side, you see that chestnut has actually a bit more irregularity into the... And so this was the normal kind of wood we used to have in Valtellina up to the 70s. And we love, these are from 1967, and these are the big wood that we dedicate always to our crews.
Which is the secret of keeping alive a wood that is 60 years old? How do you regenerate the barrel?
You need to clean them properly, so this is first.
But every 6-7 years you have to,
Actually not, because otherwise they will be lost already since 30 years.
And how do you do it?
Because you really need to clean them so well. We are using some very special restoration equipment that remove completely the deposit of tartaric acid, the tartrates that you get at the base or around the wood. So believe it or not, for this big barrel, we've only been doing once the regeneration, and it was in 2005.
So they can stay at least another 20 years.
Or 50.
Yes.
Who knows? And cruise stays here normally in between 3 to 4 years, in addition to the first year that they do spend
But
there.
the Roscioli was not there even 5 years aged in barrels? No.
That was 2009. It was an exceptional vintage.
Even 97?
97 was actually 4.
4, okay.
4. Let's say 4, it's more average for our cruise. But 2009 vintage was for us even more exceptional, and so we decided to do an extra year. And believe it or not, after we bottled those wines, we need to store them even more. So the cruise normally spends additional 3 years in the bottle before reaching you to the market. And so this is also very important together with the rest of the process. So here we do have the home for our Inferno Sesto Canto Riserva. So Inferno is always a bit more balsamic. As we said, it's very, very steep and stony. And we always get a bit more balsamic notes into the Inferno, which is a character of our Inferno. And 2009 was actually the first vintage that we've ever been making a cru out of our Inferno. Our vineyard is positioned on the third circle, third round. The third circle is into the Sesto Canto of Dante Alighieri, which is the glutton, and so we decided to name it from there. And then we have the 2 home for Sasella Rocerosse. So Rocerosse is our biggest cru into the Sella area. Is in between 400 to 550 meter, and it's roughly 4 hectares. It's very full of ironstone, so that's why the name Red Rocks. And it's very, of course, well known, and it's also the first one that our father decided to start again with. So it's the one more known in everywhere in the world for sure. And after the Rocerosse, we do have the Grumello Sant'Antonio. So together with the Inferno Sesto Canto, Grumello Sant'Antonio, it's a new cru that we was just born in vintage 2009. So Sant'Antonio is the church close to the Grumello Castle, and it's our vineyard. It's just below this little church where actually our parents got married in '69. So it's also a very special place for us. And this vineyard has slightly deeper soil, and it's roughly at 450-500 meter, and there is a touch of clay into this vineyard which is missing everywhere else. This wine is particularly intense and so different from his brother Grumello Buonconsiglio, which is side by side during the aging, but believe me, these 2 guys are completely different, so it's hard to say they are twins. So they do have their own personality. And Grumello Buonconsiglio is coming from the vineyards in between 400 to 450 meter, so where the soil is even more sandy, there's no clay, it's even more poor, and the result for the Buonconsiglio is always very, very delicate, very gentle and very soft. That's a character of Grumello Buonconsiglio.
The character of Grumello in general, comparing to Inferno and Sasella, as you were saying.
In general, yes, but then in between the 2 babies, I have to say that there is such a different personality. And then we go with the Sasella Vigna Regina, so our queen that is just so side by side with the Rocerosse, same elevation, so in between 400 to 550 meter. It's only 1 hectare, so it's very small, very steep. It's more rocks rather than soil. And for some reasons, this vineyard has been called this way, and is always delivering a lot of minerality without that kind of bloody finish from the red rocks that you get in the Rocerosse. And then we have our Ultimi Raggi vineyard that is coming from the top of Sasella, where we are at 600 meter. And to be able to make this wine, everything needs to be perfect, because if something gets wrong, we cannot do it. We normally harvest in mid and November, so we do get a little bit more concentration of the berries, but preserving the freshness and the acidity. So this is for us our answer to Sforzato, because Sforzato in the old days could be made either by drying the grapes under the roof or in the vineyards. Doing in this way, you preserve much more the freshness, the acidity, and so it's still a wine very easy to drink that you can enjoy nearly with whatever food you like. Ultimi raggi is the last sun rays, and so believe it or not, when we made Ultimi raggi first time was actually in '99, so we're the last sun rays of the year, of the century, and the millennium.